Hello and welcome to a channel update. So this channel update from me, and it is your opportunity to tell me basically what you're thinking about it, whether there's anything you want changed, whether there's anything that you think should be on the channel, anything you think shouldn't be on the channel. Basically just your chance to give feedback and my chance to give you an idea of what exactly I think is going to be on the channel in next month and what kind of things I think are going to be on the channel going forward. So let's have a look. Well, the first thing you'll notice is that RimWorld is not on the list, and there's nothing to replace it. Well, the reason for that was when I released the RimWorld series and the City Skylines series at the same time, I was kind of doing a little bit of testing. One, to see which one would get people liked more, see what kind of things I was getting back from, just trying something a little bit different, get some more variety. And two, just seeing if I could put the workload up a little bit in terms of video production, as in terms of number. The answer is kind of, but when Pillars released, we went a little bit over. Pillars pushed it to the point where it was getting a little bit questionable. If I had no problems recording on a weekend, no problem. I could get them all out. If I have any delay whatsoever, it causes issues. As you will have seen at the end of this week, had a few issues with getting CK2 out, but should be all okay for next week, and it should all go back to normal. Although I say that every time, so who knows. But yeah, that is the current plan. Just to kind of keep the series down to the current level, ideally, I think the best amount I had was 4. 4 series is kind of enough. It's it gives you a little bit of variety, and it gives you room to expand into a 5th series if you want to. When you have 5 or 6 series, it kind of really limits you on moving up in the number of series. If I want to be more flexible, move into a different game, play something that's just come out and it's really cool and I'm really excited about it, can't really do that with that many series. So that's my current situation with that. But it's all alright. It's all alright. Things seem to be going okay. With the RimWorld series, I do want to say I was looking at views because as I said, we're trying things out, trying a little bit more variety, see exactly what kind of worked and what didn't. RimWorld kind of crashed and burned in terms of views. It was down at the 14 level, which it's not really a lot in terms of views. 14 views is kind of the level where I'm thinking, yeah, there's not many people watching this. The people who did watch it, there were few, and they were vocal in terms of number of people who had comments compared to number of people watching, but it didn't really work out. I think that's because I didn't do anything in that series that was different. I didn't do anything, it wasn't a new DLC, I didn't make any effort to say I was playing on a new patch, didn't make any kind of stuff like that. I think that kind of left it down. The thumbnail wasn't as good as the City Skylines one, in my opinion. Wasn't drawing people in. It didn't really do anything. I think if I'm playing RimWorld again, I need to go in with a plan, a very specific kind of RimWorld thing. For instance, if you look at Quill18, when he plays RimWorld, he'll go in and say, this is my dwarf RimWorld colony. And he'll play it like Dwarf Fortress or something like that. Or I've seen some other people who are alright, I'm going to install all of the Jedi mods or something like that. And we're going to have lightsabers and it's going to be all futuristic. I think going in with a plan like that could make a RimWorld series really good. I don't think just a general RimWorld series is going to cut it anymore. And I think we may shelve that series for a while, or shelve the game until either some major patch comes out which adds in something new, or until I come up with an idea for something I want to do with it. I see a mod that seems cool. So I think that's my plan with RimWorld currently. I enjoyed the series. Personally, I enjoyed it, but I feel like it needed something more to be a cool series. Anyway, that's fine. It did end very well in terms of a series. Yeah, it was all looking very positive there for a little bit with our little colony, and then yes, squirrels are a tough enemy to face. Anyway, right, talking about City Skylines, because it seems like the next best one to go into, it is much better series in that we went in with a plan. It's a new DLC, we're playing towards that DLC, it's a different kind of challenge, it's trying to make our city kind of feel like a proper city, and kind of feel more natural. That's my plan with it, and that's where I've been trying to go. Some bits succeed, some bits fail, but I like it. It's different, and it's kind of engaging with the systems of the game very well, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, It's also, the music they put in now is so relaxing. I could just play that game for hours on end and just sit there slowly managing traffic. Badly. But I could sit there and just relax. So, yeah, even when that series ends, I might go into City Skylines and just sit there slowly making things pretty. And I think that's, yeah, and it's cool. It's nice to see how that game's kind of evolved a little bit. It's now no longer just traffic simulator. It's got a little bit more to it. And, yeah, it's fun. It also, in terms of views, it's doing alright. It's doing about the level I would expect. Lower than EU4, much higher than RimWorld. So, it's cool. It's also, interestingly, higher than Witcher 3 right now, but I suspect that's because Witcher 3 is at, what, 145 episodes in on the third game in the series of a series playthrough. So it's probably about 300, well, let's say, 200 and something episodes of that. So there's a little bit of attrition in there. It's even longer than Elder Kings in terms of number of videos, so yeah. Anyway, Elder Kings is also gone, because that finished at last, but it's a couple of weeks back now, so don't need to worry about it. Anyway, Witcher 3, we're on to the DLC. I'm enjoying it. I don't think the DLC is as long as I thought it was, which might be a good thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the first DLC, initial impressions, I played about 5 hours of it. I can't see it going over 20. It might not even go over 10 hours in terms of DLC, although I have heard people say like 40 hours for some of the DLC, so I don't know. Either this DLC is going to open up immensely, so I'm playing Hearts of Stone first, or this is a short one and they were talking about Blood and Wine, and Blood and Wine is a very long one. Or maybe it was 40 hours for both of them, as in if you put them together. But yeah, it's still fun. I like Witcher 3, don't really think that's a surprise, and yeah, DLC is getting interesting. Like it kind of ramped. It was a little slow starting off, but I think that was because it added in some kind of generic side quests. I think the intention of the DLC was to add in some high-level quests so that you could still play some of it while you were playing the main game, and then to kind of move you naturally into the DLC. Like this one's a little bit more joined into the main game, while Blood and Wine is like, here's a separate area, you're going to go to the separate area, and everything in the DLC happens over there. This one's this happens in areas that are already in Witcher, like in the base game, which is cool. I like it. Anyway, yes, so that's got its DLC, so that's all good. Next stuff, let's talk about Divinity next. So I have a little tag next to it saying when backlogged. So recorded about 5 hours so far of a Divinity backlog, and what I'm aiming to do with Divinity is backlog quite a lot of it. And then when it comes back, instead of coming back like it did this time where it kind of stutters and then doesn't quite come back fully, we're going to come back and then there's going to be a ton of episodes, and there'll hopefully be some cushion if we don't get to record each week of some more Divinity. Basically, it got slowed down because, well, I was moving flat, and the other person I recorded with was finishing university and doing like all the final year courses and things. So it's a little bit... yeah, it was a bad time in terms of restarting the series, because both of us realized we don't really have that much time, and the time that we did have didn't really coincide with each other, so hopefully it'll be better now. It will be a little bit more lined up for that. Interestingly, they did announce an enhanced edition, and I was thinking, it's only coming out in August. We could, in theory, like kinda semi-restart, like I could play through some stuff off camera and we could restart in the next area, but we're fairly far into it, so yeah, I don't know. We'll need to think about that. That's a discussion that needs to be had later, but let me know what you think. I think we should just continue where we are. If we lose this momentum, it may be a dead series, but we'll see. We're both still enjoying it, though, when we get time to actually do it. Maybe if we're going to do more co-op stuff in the future, shorter games that we can play in like 3 sessions. I don't know. I enjoy this type of game, though, so we'll see. Right, Crusader Kings 2. We have 2 series on right now. We have the Righteous Reichlanders, which is, we're getting there. We're getting more powerful. We haven't quite hit the point. There's always a point in every Crusader Kings series where it turns from a nice, slow-paced, kind of roleplay-centric series. In terms of roleplay, I mean, like, we're going for objectives that make sense for our character, that sort of stuff. They all start out that way. And then it hits a point where you become so powerful that you can just go for whatever objective you feel like, does not matter what it is, and you can just then roll over everything. and we're almost at that point. Like, we're so closely reaching it, but actually, interestingly, the Warhammer mod has a lot of mechanics in terms of giving everybody in the game lots of money. And then there are a ton of mercenary companies. So what happens is you end up with a situation where even though you are strong, as in your base provinces are strong, you're all built up, you're ready to go, if you don't have the same amount of cash reserves as the person you're about to fight, they can buy all the mercenaries, and that gives you a new challenge. So I like it. It's kind of more challenging than base CK2. And now that I have, and a different topic as well, I was going to move over here. I have a better PC. It now actually runs well enough that these mechanics actually show up a little bit more, and that's cool. Because before it was going way too slow, and you just really didn't see any of the mechanics because you were like, we have to have 100% chance of success because everything takes 1,000,000 hours to actually go through. Like, each war took like 2 episodes or something like that. I may be exaggerating slightly, but to siege a province, you had to sit there for a good 4 or 5 minutes, and then you had to sit there for each one underneath it, and yeah, anyway. It's fun. I like the Warhammer mod more now that it runs better. I still think it should be optimized better, but I understand why it's not. It's because they have so many extra mechanics kind of piled on top of the base game, and then so many provinces. Each province has a ton of people in each court, and then that just tends to slow the game down. But yeah, it's fun. Don't know how much longer it's going to last. Yeah, I'll need to think about that, but yeah, I know what our objective is. Our objective stayed exactly the same throughout it. We haven't reached it yet, so yeah, probably it'll end whenever we reach that objective. I'm not in any rush. So yeah, cool. Next one is the Radovid series, which I think is gonna be a shorter series, like shorter than the Righteous Ranklanders, but I'm enjoying it. People seem to be into it. It's it's kind of focusing more around a singular character who's already well defined. We're kind of going for things that make sense. It's interesting, like, I don't know. The Witcher mod is, it's kind of shallow in terms of mechanics, but it's got a lot of charm to it, if you know what I'm meaning. Like, in terms of actual game mechanics, like, it doesn't hold up at all to the Warhammer mod, because the Warhammer mod has so many different little aspects that are, well, I don't want to say improved, but changed and, like, made more complex. While the Witcher mod is very much a vanilla experience with, like, a few layers, a few extra layers on top that add a little bit more, I'm trying to think of the right way of putting it. They add a bit more immersion, I guess, maybe? I don't know, it's not really a great word for what I'm trying to come up with. But they add in, like, there are different races, and there's, like, one law that affects them. Doesn't really affect too much, it's just a type of revolt. But the revolt has its own charm. It's like, as in, it's specifically said, like, this revolt is because you have this law on. So you can kind of get more into it. Well, yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that conversation, but I like the mod. Probably not going to be a very long series, but it also hasn't crashed, which it crashed a lot on the previous 2 series I played of that mod, which is weird. I don't know why it has. The story events are broken in the current version of the mod that we're playing, as in, not in the current version of the mod, but in the save that we're playing in. The story events I can tell are broken because we haven't had. There's an Assassin's a King event that happens at the start of every single game of that, and it just hasn't appeared. So what I'm guessing has happened is that Assassin a King's event has somehow been skipped, and therefore that event chain hasn't continued, and therefore the crashes haven't happened, which I think is actually like a really good bit of luck. But yeah, it's cool. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Oh wait, no, I didn't talk about Pillars of Eternity 2, the fantastic new game on the channel, which is just, you know, it's the first game but better. It also means it has full voice acting, basically. Like, there are some bits it doesn't have voice acting, and narrator only voice acts the start, but it does have, like, a lot of the voice acting, which means that I don't have to do every voice, unlike the first game, which is a huge improvement from my point of view. And it also, like, it's just so, it's like the first game, but just more, which is exactly what I wanted. And they've got so many improvements that they brought in from the DLCs. Like, they had all these kind of storybook moments where it would be like almost a choose-your-own-adventure style game within it, which I think was a really interesting way of doing what essentially are, like, if you split it down into like D&D kind of style things, there's the combat of the game, and that's one bit of it. And then everything that's like you walking around town, you can get like these storybook moments, which are interactions which aren't combat based, but I think it's a good way of presenting them. So yeah, I really like it. I want to see where it goes, and I want to see where the story goes, because the first game's story was slow to get going, but this one seems to be a little bit more faster paced. We've kind of jumped into the action. It said, okay, here's the big thing that you need to deal with, here's how you're going to deal with it, essentially, or here's what your objective is. This will be your objective. Well, in the first game, it was a little bit slower. It was like, well, you kind of have an objective, but your objective is really to find out what's going on. You're just a little bit confused. Well, this one, it's like, no, actually, you have a very good idea of what's going on, because it's built upon from the first game. I like it. Anyway, I'll stop talking about pillars, and yeah, let's move on to this side of things. So, we have the waiting list. I did play a little Slay the Spire and did put it on the channel. Seemed to do alright. Basically, I played some of the new character, if you missed it. New character I really like. Yeah, I don't know if he's in the main game yet. I guess he is. Because apparently people have been doing dailies with the new character, so I guess he must be in the new game. In the main game, I played the beta version of it, but yeah. I don't know how much more of Slay the Spire we're going to play. I don't know what else they're going to release for it, but it's kind of still there on my radar. I still enjoy it. I guess what I should add, although tentatively, is Gwent. I'm kind of interested, although I might add that into my own suggestions list. As in suggested by myself. I quite like the idea of playing some Gwent at some point, as in the actual game. Apparently there's going to be big changes. Actually, I'm going to move over here. I want to play the story mode of Gwent when it comes out. Because it's going to be about Queen Maeve and things like that, which it seems pretty cool. But yeah, apparently there are some major gameplay changes to Gwent coming out that not everyone's happy with. Apparently they're lowering the number of rows from 3 to 2 or something like that. I don't really understand it, but apparently it's a big deal. So yeah, we'll see how that kind of turns out. Maybe Gwent will be a dead game by the time the single player comes out. You never know. Anyway, that's on the list of things that I'm waiting for. Other stuff that's to go on the channel, Game of Thrones mod, we're going to play after whichever one of Radovid or Righteous Reichlanders ends first. I can tell you, looking at it, it's going to be after Radovid series. Just because a lot of people asked for a Game of Thrones mod after Elder Kings ended. I can understand why, because it's something I play a lot on the channel, or did play a lot on the channel, and yeah. We had the Righteous Reichtlander series going on for ages, we had the Elder King series going on for ages. What did we even do before? I think we're... Oh yeah, we did a vanilla series, didn't we? Yeah, we did the Sakya Treason, or Treason series before that, and which was fairly long, so it's been a while since it's been on the channel, so yeah. We're going to play some more Game of Thrones mod. I might make it a longer series. Last couple we did were quite short, kind of like mini things. I might try for something a little bit longer. Not just because we've played out pretty much every scenario I can think of from just single characters. So we might do something similar to the Fosaway series where we pick a kind of side character and then we play a house. So maybe we'll do a custom house or something like that. Anyway, see how it goes. What I might do actually is... I might do similar to, what was it, the Serpent Tail or whatever I called it series, where maybe I'll do some custom courtiers or something in it as well. I haven't really decided yet. This is all kind of throwing out ideas because I'm looking for feedback. So yeah, but we'll maybe do something which has a set endpoint. Like I think if you start like 150 years before the the White Walkers attack, that might be a good point. Like, and then have that be the end goal. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much, but yeah, we'll think. We'll think more before the before we start that series. Anyway, other things. Walking Dead Season 3 ending. I mean, it's been over a year since I last played it, so maybe I could finish that game off. We'll see. What I'm going to do with one-off things is I'm going to make sure... I'm only going to do them if we have already got videos for the week kind of sorted, so probably won't happen for a couple of weeks. If it happens, we'll see. I've had that on the list for a while, but it is something I want to remember. Actually, in terms of other things I want to add to this list, I do want to do the Telltale Batman one, because it ended on a cliffhanger, and the new series is all out, I think, so we could probably do that 1 week. This is kind of things I'm thinking we might do after Witcher 3 event has ended, so if Witcher 3 ends, may do some things that are like a week long, something like that, and then before thinking about doing anything else. Also, after Witcher 3 ends, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do next. I might do another series playthrough. I was thinking maybe we might do Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect. Those are things that I quite like. I like having the BioWare RPG on the channel, although we do have Pillars of Eternity too, so I may play something like a little bit different in an RPG. I'm not 100% sure. Again, this is where I'm looking for suggestions. If anybody has any ideas, this is your moment to shine. For instance, in the last channel update, someone suggested playing City Skylines, and look at that, we're playing City Skylines. It's amazing. You ask and things might happen. Anyway, yeah, so, anything else? Pathfinder Kingmaker, I think, maybe comes out this year? Not 100% sure about that, actually. But yeah, I want to go and play that as well, because it kind of had the same feeling as Pillars. I maybe don't want to play that at the same time as Pillars. There are a couple of CRPGs I want to play, like Tyranny I still need to get around to, and it has DLC out, and it's probably finished, I'd imagine. Like, it probably isn't going to get any more DLC, because Pillars is out, and it's getting DLC, so I don't know who's working on it, unless they're separate teams, which they could be. I don't know how big Obsidian is. I don't imagine they have that many teams going on. Apparently there's a new game, a new Paradox game going to be announced at PDXCon, which I think is this weekend, so it may even be announced by the time this video goes out. But whatever it is, I'm interested in playing that. I don't know when, like, how long it is from announcement to release for Paradox games. I'd assume it's about a year? I don't know. They announced Hearts of Iron and it didn't come out for ages, and then they announced Stellaris and it came out fairly quickly. So I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do with that. I imagine they're probably going to announce it. If they're announcing it, I imagine they're probably going to release it not that far after, because I think they said after Hearts of Iron that they want to they don't want to have this constantly pushing back the release date thing that they did. What would be really cool, and of course awful for me on the channel in terms of amount of content I'm producing, is if they just say, oh yeah, we've got this new game, oh, and it's out. That would be interesting. I don't think they're going to do that, but they could. There's also E3 coming up, so there might be a whole bunch of new games that come on my radar for playing when that actually, like when all of those conferences go off, because usually they announce a lot of things, and apparently Bethesda, there are rumors there might be a new IP, so that could be cool if there's a new Bethesda game. Although personally, I'm hoping for another Elder Scrolls game. That'd be nice. I think they've said they're not going to announce it, but you know, you never, well, they might. They did it with Fallout, but usually they like to tease things a little bit more. I think they're teasing Rage 2 right now, which I have no interest in whatsoever. Played the first Rage, didn't really draw me in, but I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Other things, in terms of the to-do list, Better PC has kind of been done. The PC is improved. I'm gonna even archive it. It's gone. Got improved the CPU, which also meant improving the motherboard and improving the RAM, so it is now very, very good for Crusader Kings, which is pretty much the main thing. And it will also render things, so everything in terms of video has been moved up to 60 FPS, which is, I like it. You can probably tell me whether there's any improvement or, like, whether you even noticed, but I don't know. It's probably not really a big thing for Crusader Kings, probably more of a thing for things like Witcher, where you'll actually be able to notice with action going on that it's a higher frame rate. If it's been looking bad, please tell me, because that's also a thing I need to know. The video's getting a little bit long, so I may wrap this up. Answering comments, I'm trying to do it once every 2 weeks, like as my limit, but, you know, things get in the way. I do want to answer all comments. Really, what would be best is if I just set aside some time each day and just answer the ones from that day, but I'm bad at planning and sticking to a schedule. You would have never noticed. Anything else? I don't know. I'm still working on, like, thumbnails. I do want to change the channel art. Oh yeah, I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if YouTube's fixed this, but every single channel art got, like, they changed, like, where the banner took the image from. So for each like channel art, it's actually about I think it's something like 3760 or something like that by, I think it's 1080, like, image, and so it can be displayed on multiple devices, and then a different section of that is taken for each device. So in PC, it takes, like, just a slither and puts it on the top of your channel. So you'll see, like, on the channel, usually you have, like, a name, and then like a little picture or something like that, right? On mine it had the name, and then it had underneath it like this game, and another game, and it basically said what I was playing. I haven't updated it in a while, but that was the general idea of it. But what they did in this update, without telling anyone it was coming, is they just moved where that banner was taking. So instead of mine saying name and then a couple of games we were playing, it just said the name, and the name was at the bottom of the banner. And then on some other ones it looks even better, where it just cuts off half the name, like the image is weird, because generally you just set it up for the PC and then it doesn't really matter for mobile or whatever, or at least that's what I see a lot of people doing. So it's just another example of YouTube just pushing out updates without telling anyone. But anyway, yeah, if they keep it that way, I may have to do more artwork. Well, I say artwork. It's not really artwork. Mine is like novice graphic design, if you want to be fancy, or what I can do in Photoshop. But anyway, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I'm working on it. And yeah, that's about it for most things. Any other suggestions need to go on this list. So right now I only have Thedas Kings and Elder Kings. So anything else that you can come up with, tell me, and we'll add it, and we'll see what the possibility is of playing it. So thank you for watching if you made it this far. It's a little bit long for an update. I should get better at making these shorter, but I kind of just start talking and then don't stop. Which, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to end the episode before I continue talking more. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.